Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Shifa binti Muhammad Asri and my matrix number is 199129. So in this video, I'm going to talk about trait and factor theory. Okay, so before we go further, we have to know what is trait and factor. So trait basically is our characteristics, our personality. For example, honest, kind, helpful, all of those are traits, basically our characteristics. Next is factor. Factor is the influence that contributes to a certain result. Okay, so what is trait and factor theory? So basically, trait and factor theory is the matching between individual traits as well as job needs and descriptions. Okay, so who developed this theory? Frank Parson is the one who developed this theory. Frank Parson is an American professor who used to be a lecturer at Boston University. He was born on 1854 and died on 1908. So basically, Frank Parson is the father of vocational guidance movement. He developed the talent matching approach, which was then was developed into trait and factor theory of occupational choices. Okay, why this theory was developed? First is to increase self-awareness. So what is self-awareness? Self-awareness is the conscious feeling of our own characteristic and also feeling. So if we use this theory to apply for like a job, then it will increase our self-awareness. We get to know our own characteristic and we can use that as a factor that will we can choose what job that best suited to us. Okay, next is to develop alternatives. So once we use this trait and factor theory, it will give us a lot of alternatives. Once we know what our personality is, what our talent is, what our abilities is, then a lot of alternatives of jobs will be available to us. And lastly is decision making. So once we have known our personalities, our characteristics, our talents and skill and all of those, then we will have the freedom to make choices, to make decision on what job we will choose that is best match with our personalities. So Parson stated that when a person works in a job that suited them, it will increase the productivity as well as they will be happy to work. So when to use trait and factor theory in our daily life? Okay, Parson have stated that this theory can be used when people have achieved an accurate understanding of their individual traits. So meaning that people have a conscious feeling, have a self-awareness of their own characteristics. Next is when people have a knowledge about job and labor market. So this is when people think about the pros and cons of the job that they want and compare it, and also know about labor market. Next is when they have rational and objective judgment about the relationship between individual traits and labor market. Okay, that is on when to use this theory. So how do we use this theory? So in Frank Parsons' book, which is entitled Choosing a Vocation, Parsons stated that personal counsel is fundamental to the career search. So this means that we have to have a personal counsel to know what career is the best for us. So he said that he stated that there is 7 stages for a career counselor to work through with client. So the first stage of personal counsel is personal data. So basically, a counselor must gain the personal data of the clients that is related to the vocational problem. Counselors must gather all statement of key facts of that person, includes includes every fact that has a relationship um, with vocational problems. Next is self-analysis. So self-analysis is a self-examination that is done in private and under instruction of the counselor. So every tendency and interest that might impact on the choice of life work of the client should be recorded by the counselor to know the problem. For the third stage is the client's own choice and decision. So in this stage, it is important for the counselor to bear in mind that the decision must be made by the client and not the counselor. The counselor only acts as a guider that that will uncover the client's problem and only guide him and not to make decisions for the client. So for the fourth stage is counselor's analysis. So in this stage, counselors will test whether their client's decision is in line with their main quest or not. So for the fifth stage is outlook on the vocational field. So in this stage, counselors should be familiar and know about industrial knowledge, such as list and classification of industries, vocations, practical training, and apprenticeships. Okay. For stage number 6 is induction and advice. So in this stage is about the counselor must have a broad-minded attitude with a logical and clear reasoning, because that is based on what the clients have said earlier and what his decisions are. So this is to make sure that client's decision is in line with the main quest. Okay, so for the last stage is general helpfulness. So in this stage, the counselor helps the client to fit into the chosen work and help the client to reflect on his or her decisions on the job that they have chosen. So that's it. So as a conclusion, we know that this theory is aimed in assisting individual in career decision making, so that people will choose the career that is best suited with their traits and personalities, that will also increase their work productivity and work satisfaction. So I think that is all from me. Thank you.